aspects of health. That's right. Every Wednesday, we share tips on how to grow and improve your mental, social, spiritual, intellectual, physical, and obviously your financial health. Today, we are focusing on how to improve your financial health with credit. If you have never seen Millionaires Are Made, this is a show built on the fundamental beliefs that every person you meet knows something you don't, and there's something to be learned from everyone in this big, beautiful world. We are on a mission here at Millionaires Are Made to teach the world how to grow into the healthiest, happiest millionaires in all 6 aspects of life. So we went out and got 3 awesome guests to give you 3 awesome tips on how to improve your financial health with credit. In the spirit of authenticity, to remove as much bias as possible, we do not talk to our guests about their tips or advice. So when they come on live and share their advice, it will be our first time hearing it as well. Audience, viewers, we love you, and we also want to let you know this is an interactive show. So please feel free to comment and ask questions. We do ask them live, so you can get your answers immediately. And right now, we're going to shout out some of our followers. If you want to be shouted out on the show, just hit that follow or like button. On Facebook, Eric Pedden, thank you. Instagram, Ivy Hill. TikTok, Nikki the Angelus. And on YouTube, Joe Munch. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. If you're watching this and you want to be on a podcast, we would love to have you. We are always looking for new guests. We have 6 guests every week. And at some point, we want to have everybody in the whole world share their information and their tips and advice. So we'd love to have you. We're dropping the link right now. If you want to be a guest, sign up. If you also have a great topic that you're curious about or know something about or want to share about, that link is also the same link. Drop it, tell us the topic, and we will go out and find 3 awesome guests and have a whole show about that topic. Obviously, this is the point where we tell you to like, subscribe, share. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitch or wherever, send us some love. We'd be very happy. What else we got? Merchandise is available. You can get awesome shirts like this. This is my growth shirt. We're dropping the link right now. Feel free to grab hats and shirts and calendars and all that fun stuff and help support us in our mission to grow the world. Dun, 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 dun. Next up, we got sponsors. Our first sponsor for this episode is an amazing woman named Sarah Jones. Sarah lived her life buried in debt with a failing marriage, hired one of the big debt relief companies, and eventually found it wasn't working. So she scrapped it all, went and studied, became a financial coach, and now spends a time in a happy relationship with her husband, traveling the U.S., and guiding couples, individuals, and small businesses to build fun, healthy money habits. Go click that link, check her out, and get your businesses and finances in order. Our next sponsor is Biz by Right, the matchmaking service for people who love buying and love selling businesses. They find cash flowing deals, vet them with AI wizardry, and connect buyers and sellers faster than you can say due diligence. Go check out bizbyright.com. Our next sponsor is Brian Parana, a husband, a father of 4, and founder of The Call to Rise. The Call to Rise helps busy men reclaim their health, their energy, and their confidence through very simple, sustainable systems that fit your real life. Go check Brian out now. And our final sponsor, who is also a guest on our show today, is Brian Wright. If you want to get your brand in front of high-level entrepreneurs and personal growth leaders, reach out to Brian at the Ultimate Achievers magazine, where industry icons meet a content-first audience, and I'll help you if you are looking to publish your book. He's an amazing publisher. Check out his link now. First guest, we will drop a link right now to our free growthing sessions. I do love helping. I do a lot of free stuff. So if you want to talk one-on-one about anything that might be happening in your life, I spend basically my whole life with smart people and regurgitate what they tell me. So if you want to hear that, that link's being dropped right now, growwithaustin.com. Would love to talk to you and hang out. And now, without further ado, we will be bringing out our first guest. His name is Kevin. He's a credit whiz. Kevin, tell us, who are you?
Yeah, man, it's great to be here. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Kevin Faulkner, and I own a company called 3B Credit Health. The 3B stands for 3 bureaus. I started this company in 2020 because I had trouble with my own credit. I didn't understand credit for a long time. I was decades, actually. I was 48 or 49 years old when I started the company. And I had always been a guy trying to fit into the 9 to 5 world. And, like you, man, I was kind of an entrepreneur at heart, and I didn't know it. So I couldn't find my niche in this world, so I struggled. And a lot of us struggle. We just don't understand credit. We don't know how the game works, and I want to get into that and pour into the audience today with that. But I was that person, so I definitely can relate to my clients. And I was in an apartment, a one-bedroom apartment that was empty when I started this company, and I had a 500 credit score. And I had my iPhone. And after a little bit of time,
you had a 500 credit score and you started a credit company.
Well, I answered an ad. It was a very organic ad. Those ads that you see on Facebook are not ads. It's a post, like just with the color background, like blue or red or whatever. And it's just like a sentence and it's meant to get engagement. That's what it was. And it was a guy that had a credit repair company in Pennsylvania. And I needed help with my own credit. So I was looking for a purpose in life. And I was like, well, shoot, I could start a credit repair company and work on my own credit at the same time and be my very first client. And, I paid this guy like $300, I think, maybe 500, something like, not more than $500. And he got on several Zoom calls with me and taught me a few things. And then I hit the ground running and took off from there. Now I'm happy to say I have an 800 credit score.
Yeah.
We're 2,000 clients later.
Nice. So turns out you learned a bit.
I learned a bit. Yes.
All right, Kevin, I got an important question for you. We're going to take that off real quick. If I wanted to improve my financial health with credit, what tiny piece of advice would you give me?
Yes, sir. Well, as I was saying, man, I could talk all day on this subject, but I want to give the audience the most bang for their buck with the knowledge. And I think the biggest thing that we don't realize is that how banking works. Because if we understand how banking works, then we understand how credit works. And banks are out there to loan money and make money from that money, right? So they charge us interest on the money that they charge us interest on the money we borrow from them. So, and I'm going to reverse engineer. So try to hang with me on this, audience, if you're listening to this. The bank is out there loaning money. That's how they make money to us, the consumer, and we pay them interest, and that's how they grow. It's how the economy works. It's how the banking system works. So when we're working with credit, all credit is an indicator to the bank on whether or not how risk worthy we are. So let me walk through that with you. The credit score is made up of 5 things. It's made up of payment history, which is a little over 30% of your credit score. It's made up of utilization, which is a little over 30% of your credit score. It's made up of diversity of credit, which is a little over 10%, newer credit, which is a little over 10%, and older or age credit, which is a little over 15%. So these 5 things cover our credit score. So let's say you've got a 500 credit score or 800 credit score, whatever it may be. These 5 things are what determines that and what the bank is looking for. Now, this is all by design. So they're wanting to know if you pay your bills on time. That's the first indicator. That's why it counts 30%. They're also utilization, and I want to get into this because people don't understand why utilization matters as much as it does. Utilization counts as much as payment history when it comes to our credit. The reason is banks want to loan money. They want that money out on the street, but they want that money protected. So let's go through it a little bit. Inquiries. You've ever had a car dealership pull your credit? Inquiries can, and you've seen your credit score drop. Inquiries can affect your credit score up to 15 points per inquiry. Why does it work like that? Because the bank wants to know, the algorithms actually, because in 2025, everything is algorithms, want to know, are you looking for money? Are you overextended? Are you in trouble? Did you get laid off? Why are you looking for money? So the bank is protecting itself by hurting your credit score with an inquiry. Now, the reason I'm giving you all this information is because I want you to understand the overall way that this system works. So, like utilization, for example, on our credit cards. When we run up our credit cards and we max them out, the reason that affects our credit score so much is, again, it alarms the bank that we've run up our credit score. So the algorithms on our credit score are asking the question, are we in trouble? Did we get laid off? Are we not going to pay them? Is the real question that they're asking with our credit score.
That's the real question.
So,
and they have all these factors to determine that. Kevin, you told us a tiny bit of how you started. Can you tell us just a tiny bit more about where you learned this information?
Yes, sir. So, man, it's been the school of hard knocks for me because, as you know, man, it's really mistake. And your show is about growth, man, which I love that. And I'm the same way. And it's been, we learn from our mistakes. And I have made all of these mistakes. I am the people's champion when it comes to credit. Let me say it like that, because I have made every mistake somebody can make and learn the hard way. And with us and our company and the way I've got my company built, it's so that we can apply what we've learned from not only myself, but from 2,000 other clients, what works, what doesn't work, to apply it to the client-specific situation to help them get everything turned around so they can flip the script on the bank and use the bank as a tool instead of the bank using them as a victim.
I love it. All right, Kevin, we're going to move on to our next guest, and we'll bring you back out for the round robin. Next up, we have Christine. Christine, tell us, who are you?
Well, hey, thank you, Austin, and thank you for inviting me on. I am truly honored, and thank you, Kevin, for those great nuggets. My name's Christine Hebel. I'm known as the Free Money Queen because I help small businesses and large businesses get grants for their business. Yes, there are grants that are available for for-profit businesses. It's not just for nonprofits.
Very cool. Well, what state are you located in?
I'm physically located on beautiful Amelia Island, Florida.
Florida, all right. Free Money Queen, all right. And her link is just got dropped. Christine, tell us, if I wanted to improve my financial health with credit, what is one tiny piece of advice you would give me?
Oh my gosh. So how I came to become the Free Money Queen is my 14-year-old son started a business. And as he grew the business, it became readily apparent that the bank of mom and dad needed some relief. So Kevin, I love that you talk about how money moves. I was totally clueless. And so we were blessed to have a friend that we met, became part of our family through pediatric pain camp, and that my son was attending. And she reached down and she said, Connor, I've helped businesses over $400 million in grants. I want to teach you how to write grants. I had seen grants for nonprofits, but not for for-profits. It was a game changer. As soon as Connor had written his third grant, he was awarded a grant from FedEx to remove 98% of the single-use plastic from his kits. And that infusion of that money, it changed everything. It helped him with his forward momentum. And so I started Free Money U, We have a number of AI tools which weren't available when we started to help people not only find grants, but write award-winning proposals. So it is my pleasure, my honor to walk next to these small businesses and help them find that money. That it can be just a small amount of money that is a game changer to get them over that inertia and into flow.
That's awesome. That's huge. Christine, where on your life journey did you learn this advice?
So like I kind of alluded to, we were at a pediatric pain camp and ran into this woman who shared her tips and tricks and strategies, because there are things that funders are looking for in the grant proposals that they don't ask you for. And that's the secret sauce. Also, we learned how to tell our story, how to weave the story into the grant. Have you ever been to one of those networking events and somebody gets up for their 1 minute and they talk and finally somebody's like pulling them off the stage and you think they did 5 minutes and I still don't know what they're talking about? It is important to be able to quickly, precisely, and definitively explain your business in a short amount of time. They're going through thousands of grant proposals. We want yours to stand out, and that's what we teach people how to do.
That's awesome. All right, Christine, thank you so much. We're going to move on to our next guest, who is Brian. Brian, tell us, who are you?
Well, as you mentioned in my bio, I help people write their books. I publish a magazine. I do a radio show. I help people get their message out to the world in a much bigger way. Now, you may wonder, some of you may be wondering, why is this guy on this panel? I'm not a credit fixing expert. That's Kevin. I don't help people find grant money. That's Christine. I'm here as a consumer. I'm here as someone who's been through some stuff and have learned a lot of lessons. I went through a debt consolidation once. It was awful. It was painful, and it took forever to get out of it. Over 20 years ago, I went through bankruptcy. That was humiliating and awful, and I hated that. But now that I'm an entrepreneur, now that I've spent a lot of time working on myself and on my mindset, I have figured out a couple things. Number one, if you're going to take on debt, figure out the fastest path to cash to get an ROI on that money. When I interviewed Sharon Lecter on my show, she says, I don't do anything unless I can figure out how to make money doing it. And I thought that was brilliant. It's brilliant. So if you're going to take on debt, make sure you have a path to cash back on that money. And number two, if you are in debt, rather than do the things that I did in my past, what I'm doing now is looking for ways to make more money so that I can service that debt and pay it down faster. And I will say this, one thing I have learned in the course of paying down debt in my lifetime is if you write down a list of all the creditors you owe money to and how much you owe, pay off the one you owe the least amount to first, because if you pay off, if your credit will improve by having any account paid off. So why not start with the low-hanging fruit? So if you owe a creditor $1,000, pay that one off first. Your credit score will improve a few points because you paid someone off. And now people are saying, oh, he's making a move to paying things off. If you are stuck in debt, and this is based on experience, reach out to the people you owe money to if you're having a problem. Some people, like, for example, American Express, will put you on a payment plan and you're not being penalized for it. And once you pay it off, you can start using your card again. They don't charge you interest. They just don't let you use the card while you're paying the plan off. And so I've done that. And then once you have graduated from their little program, you can start using their cards again. And it's like your friends again. So there are ways. If you are in debt right now, there are ways to get out of it. And so that's the perspective that I bring. If you want to fix your credit, talk to Kevin. If you're looking for grant money, talk to Christine. I have no offers here. I'm just here to share.
If you want to hear how someone messed up their credit, talk to Brian. All right, Brian, we're going to bring everyone else out and start the round robin here. Kevin and Christine. Audience, this is a great time to ask questions. If you ever wanted to talk to a credit expert, here we go. For now, let's start with Kevin. Can you quickly refresh what your tip was for us?
Yes, sir. Long story short, if you keep in mind that banks are out there to make money, when you're making a decision with your credit, It's going to give you all the answers. So you're looking at payment history, you're looking at utilization, you're looking at diversity of credit, which is the different types of credit. The reason that counts 10% towards your credit score is because it proves to the bank that you're reliable. Newer credit isn't always an asset to your credit because to the bank, oftentimes it looks like you're taking out credit because you're looking for money. And they want to see how you're going to handle that money before they reward you by rewarding your credit score. So, for example, if you have inquiries, we talked about that. That can count, can hurt you up to 15 points per. If you open a new credit card, it can be a long-term asset to you. But for the first 22 months, it's going to count towards newer credit. So it's going to be a little bit more like this with a new credit card because of the inquiry, and then it's going to raise up like fine wine. And the older that credit card gets, the more it's going to help your credit score. Older age credit is your greatest asset when it comes to credit because this shows the bank maturity and reliability, and it proves to the bank that you're a place they can loan money to and they can make money off of their money.
All right, we got a question for the audience. I'm going to leave this. We'll leave it for Christine or Brian. How often does a credit score change? I guess if you want to answer it too, Kevin, you can.
Yeah, I think that's a Kevin question.
Yeah, is that a question from the audience?
About maybe like.
Is that a question from the audience?
How often does your credit score change?
Yeah, well,
correct.
I would need more context on that, but because it can change on the day to day. I mean, with credit, but it's going to be those 5 things. When we go in for a client, we create what's called a credit success plan for every client that we take on, and this is an in-depth. It takes us 3 days as a team to put this report together. It's very, very informative. But what we're looking at is holes in somebody's credit, where they're weak and where they're strong. So they can dip literally on the day-to-day. I had my personal credit score is in the 800s, and it dipped 60-something points last month. And we could not, there was no reason for it. I do this for a living every day, day in and day out. And I had my team go in and look for where that, even Credit Karma said, hey, which is one of the ways I monitor my own personal credit because it's easy. Sitting on my couch, I can watch it. It didn't have a reason for it. But it's always going to be in those 5 areas of your credit that you're going to be able to deduce. Is that a word? Is that a word, Christine? Deduce, right?
That's it.
Where you can deduce what if it's not, you know what I mean? Deduce what it is that is the hole in what's causing the issue with your credit. A lot of times, if you make any kind of change whatsoever, it freaks out the algorithm. Why? Because they want to make sure the bank wants to make sure its money is safe. So anytime you're thinking or pondering, should I cut up this old credit card? I don't want to use it. It doesn't make sense. It's a high interest rate on a nonsensical credit card that I really don't have much borrowing power with, and it's 20-something% if I did use it. I want to cut it up. Here's the problem: you've paid on that credit card for 10 years on time. Your utilization is good, and it's older, so it gives diversity of credit, and it's older, so it freaks out the algorithm when you cut that card up and close it.
Yeah, I've actually had my
this question's for Christine.
I've had my credit dip because I closed out an account before. You're 100% right.
We did it with a Walmart card one time before I got into this business. You know, I said I started this business in 2020, and my wife and I had one. We got married in 2018, and she had this card. I was an authorized user on it, which is a great hack, by the way, to add yourself as an authorized user on another person's card to give you an automatic boost. But this was a Walmart card that was over 10 years old, and I made the like fine wine. It aged like fine wine. We didn't know any better. We weren't going to use a Walmart card. We had some decent credit cards, so we just closed it. Both our scores dropped like 40 points over that.
Wow.
Christine, when you're getting a grant for a business, do you have to have a good credit score?
They are not typically going to look at anything with your credit. What they want to know is what you plan to do with their money, because they have to be fiscally responsible with the money that's in their care. So they want to know, here's some great tips. They want to know,
Yeah, tell us.
what are you planning to do with the money? And when you break it up, say, I'm going to use X amount for this, this, and this. By the way, make sure that those numbers add up to the amount that they're granting you. Don't do the math before you hit submit. Please. It will show that you are somebody they can rely on. The next thing is you want to tell them, I'm going to roll this out in phase 1, 2, and then phase 3 will be past what this grant money is going to allow me, but it lets them know that you have a plan after. So those are some tips that I would give people when they're applying for grants. And like I said, here's the thing. Most for-profit businesses have no idea that grant money is available, and there are billions of dollars of grant money that go unclaimed every year. We have a responsibility to apply for that, because if it doesn't get allocated, guess what the government does? They reallocate it to another program that's utilizing that money. So apply. It's going to be good for you. There will be more grant money that's available for small businesses. The fact is, the government's very invested in this. It is a great way to spur the economy on, is through infusing money into our small businesses. There was somebody, I believe it was a president, who said that the backbone of America is the small business. So it makes sense to the government.
Let me ask you this. What are the most common grants you see awarded for your small business clients?
So I like to, everybody thinks of grant money like the $200,000, the $500,000 grants, and those are great. But I really work. My heart is with people that are in the situation we were with my son, which is, I just need $25,000, $50,000 to be infused into my business to get over that momentum. Inertia is what holds us back. Once we get over inertia and we get into flow, things are much easier. And so I love to tell people who are just starting out to reach for those grants that are under $100,000. And I love corporate grants, FedEx, Home Depot. I applied for one to tequila. There's all sorts of corporate grants out there. And why would corporations give money away? Well, it's a tax deferral for them, or a tax write-off. And what happens is, when, like Connor's FedEx grant, they wrote back and they said, how's it going? So we sent a picture of the box that he made for his microgreen kit. And FedEx is like, look what we did for this 14-year-old kid. We helped them reduce, sustainability is huge, right? That's one of the hot grant topics. We were able to help this 14-year-old entrepreneur, and they posted it everywhere. Well, that's great for them. They look very honorable. They look like they're an awesome company. Well, Connor got all of the publicity that went with FedEx getting the publicity. So it's great for you. It's great for them. And they are super. We have, with our AI tools, people can write a grant in an hour. People have this in their head that they're difficult. And there's a lot of stuff like, what about my financials? What about my credit? What about all this stuff? Well, they don't even ask that.
Right.
They want to know what you're going to do.
Side note, what is the microgreen product to completely detract from this entire show?
So, microgreens are baby vegetables, 40% more nutrient dense than the mature plant, like broccoli.
40
it's
times.
Medicine.
40 times. What company? Yeah, what company does he have?
It's Amelia Island Microgreens. Amelia Island is the island we live on, and then microgreens.
Does he have a product that you can grow microgreens
Yes.
yourself, or he grows greens?
So there's
Fascinating.
he went
Awesome.
to
Okay.
his heart is to teach people how to grow microgreens. So it's he can make a lot more by growing them and selling them, but his heart is with teaching people how easy and how cheaply they can grow their own microgreens. So it's a kit.
Cool. I just messaged you. We'll connect later and get back on topic of credit. We are here to talk about
Yes.
credit.
Yes.
Brian or Kevin, any last things you guys want to throw in about credit before we get to our daily challenge portion?
Well, I would just say that credit is something that intimidates us. It's kind of the monster behind the curtain. But it's just like anything, and I know this show is about growth, and I've mentioned that a couple of times because that's a subject that's near and dear to my heart. And it's just like anything. Once you get into it and you start learning about it, you're not scared of it anymore. You're not afraid of it. It's not intimidating. So if you're setting on your credit, you know it's not where you need it to be, but it's just that monster behind the curtain that you don't want to take on, like that big green monster behind a red curtain, and it's just standing back there. Pull that curtain back, go take that thing on, and what you're going to find out is that it's really just a really small mouse, and knowledge is going to be the thing that slays it.
Awesome. All right. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh man, I think my power just went out. There was a sprinkle of rain on this island. We are at the point in the show where we need to come up with our daily challenge. This is a task and/or series of tasks that takes less than 5 minutes, costs $0, and is available to anyone in the world. That helps us improve our financial health with credit. What ideas do you guys have?
I'll go.
If you need to fix your credit, contact Kevin.
Every day for 5 minutes, contact Kevin and Christine, and then make fun of Brian.
Yes.
By the way, Brian, I just want to congratulate you. You know, it's not very often somebody will come on and be as authentic and transparent as you. And I think we learn from people who are genuine. So thank you for sharing your story. I think more often than not, people have had experiences like that. So thank you, Brian. I would say,
Yeah. I think
go ahead.
Yeah. I was just going to say there are a lot of people out there who struggle with these issues and they aren't talking about it. And I just want to say there's no shame in talking about it. And there's no shame in reaching out to a professional. If you have goals that require you to need money and your credit is not where you want it to be, that's something you're going to have to fix. And I had a friend tell me one time, you only need two things in this world, people and money. If you have those two things in your pocket, you can do anything you really want.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, I would add to your question, Austin, the advice that I just sent over to somebody who said, you know, we're going to wait until we have XYZ in place. My advice is don't wait until you have all of your ducks in a row to start applying for grants. Get on it now. You may not get the first 2 grants that you write. We didn't, but that third one popped. So if it only takes you an hour to write a grant, the way we do it, even if it took you 5 hours, wouldn't it be worth that $10,000, $50,000, $100,000 that you get? I think that's a pretty good ROI. Start now. If you want the easy button, we are here to help, but it is not rocket science. You can go out and find all the information yourself. What we offer is the easy button so that within an hour you could be submitting a grant. So we tell our people submit a grant a week. That's 52 grants that you've submitted over a year.
Wow, good.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Michael Scott said that.
Love it.
Anyone get that office joke?
Michael Jordan proved it.
Yeah, there we go. I think it was actually Wayne Gretzky that might have said it, but all right. So I've got this for a daily challenge. First off, is check your credit score. That is going to probably be something that we want to do every day this week. Number two is do an activity that will help your credit score, whether it's like, try to pay off this, or at least learn, or do something that'll help improve your credit score. And then the third thing is to research a grant that you may be qualifying for that you don't even know, now that Christine has opened our eyes. All of that can be done in 5 minutes, I believe, correct?
I love it. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, then that task is done, and it is time to wrap up our show. Thank you all so much for coming out. Kevin,
Thank you
Brian,
for
and
having me.
Christine, you guys were awesome. And viewers, thank you so much for your awesome questions and for watching our show. Hopefully you guys learned a little something on how to improve your financial